live with coverage you can count on. This is News 2 at 5.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Brendan Clark.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carolyn Murray. Well, it was a shake that was felt across many parts of the Lowcountry today. Lots of us still talking about it. Just before 1 o'clock this afternoon, many of you told us that you felt the ground shake and you heard a loud boom. Yeah,
I certainly felt it at my house. It was shaking all over the place. We called our local seismologist, and they are ruling out an earthquake for this event. Meteorologist Christine Kohler is at the College of Charleston. Tell us how they know this isn't an earthquake when a lot of people thought it was. Chrissy?
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Carolyn and Brendan. Of course, a lot of folks think it's an earthquake whenever you feel that shake, but we came out to the College of Charleston here to their earthquake department, part of their geology department here in downtown Charleston, to find out exactly what they are seeing. And now, when you look at earthquakes, you're talking about a P wave and an S wave, and those are what they're looking for on their seismographs, excuse me, as they kind of study what's happened. But as I learned a little bit earlier, talking to Steve June, he told me that there was something obvious missing from the seismographs today.
Well, first thing is did not see an S wave. Only P waves, since it's coming through the air. Air is a fluid. P waves travel in fluids, S waves do not. So we only saw a P wave, and that told me it was not coming from the ground and from an earthquake.
So they were able to rule out an earthquake due to science. We made calls to several of the Air Force bases here across the area, and Beaufort Air Force Base was able to confirm that they were doing some offshore training exercises with fighter jets. So of course that leads us to believe that it very well could have been a sonic boom that caused that shaking here across the Lowcountry. And of course we're going to continue to have more details on that. I know Rob's got some more information on why that could be a possibility for us here in just a few moments. But Carolyn, Brendan, I'm going to send it back to the News 2 studios to you guys.
All right, we appreciate that. Thank you, Christy. Meanwhile, our Rob Fowler also watching for radar clues as to what we felt and some of us heard earlier today.
A lot of people talking about it. Rob, what did you see?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I got here, our building, all the people were talking about what had just happened. So my first thing to do was obviously check the USGS websites for earthquakes. When we kind of ruled that out, then we looked at our radar, and this was earlier in the afternoon, and we noticed these what appear to be rain showers offshore. But looking at the way they're configured and also kind of comparing it with the satellite image, we felt like it was not rain. It was what we call chaff. That's C-H-A-F-F. What it is actually a metallic material now that military aircraft release to mess up radars. It messes up our weather radar as well, but obviously we wanted to mess up the enemy radar. And it looks something like this. So what is chaff? Well, actually, it's small, thin pieces of aluminum, metallic, glass fiber, or even plastic used to distract radar-guided missiles. So basically, our first clue that potentially there could be some maneuvers being done offshore is that was chaff released by the actual aircraft to mess up radars, again, on their practice missions. And we did confirm they were out there, but they're not confirming that, in fact, it was a sonic boom that caused what we all felt. But again, at least we know they're out there, and the reason we felt pretty confident was because we saw the chaff that the aircraft was releasing. Guys, back to you.
All right, more explanation for Rob. We appreciate that. Trying to sort things out for you so that you are informed. You know, this isn't the first time we've heard mysterious loud booms and shaking. And we, of course, always come to you to find out what you've heard or what you've experienced so we can get answers.
News 2's Ashley Yost at the Isle of Palms with some of the people that we talked to today. Good evening, Ashley.
Good evening, and a lot of people heard and felt this. Even our producers back in the station heard and felt it. And when they heard that loud boom, our phones started ringing off the hook. People wondering was it an earthquake? What was it? So we went out to find out what you heard and felt. And even though now we know it's not an earthquake, it was still something worth talking about.
It just felt like something was just shaking, you know. Didn't know what it was.
And we got a lot of vibration and flex and motion in the bridge.
I heard like the roof rattle, like we have some loose stuff up there, and it kind of was a big rumbling, and then felt the ground shake a little bit.
I heard this rumble and a kind of a banging noise. I thought it was my boss moving his office chair across the floor, but it wasn't.
And I was standing for this little 4-year-old boy, and he said, "What was that?" And I said, "I have no idea."
And people from across the Lowcountry had this similar experience. It was definitely the talk of the town, and social media, not an exception to that. People were blowing up Twitter, Facebook, weren't they, Brendan?
Yeah, they sure were. Actually, as you can imagine, social media absolutely did blow up after this. Calls also flooding into our newsroom. This is real quick a look at just our Facebook page and some of the comments from our viewers that you can see here. Some people did not feel anything, maybe not knowing why a sonic boom. Actually, Cynthia Verbal wanted to know what exactly caused it. A lot of people were wondering how a sonic boom could cause as much noise and create as much havoc as it did, all the way from Somerville, where we had reports of people hearing it and people's houses were shaking, as well as in Mount Pleasant, as well as James Island. We have Melissa Rooney. Our whole neighborhood in Monk's Corner felt it. Trina Carino, the house shook on the Isle of Palm. So many quotes coming in from Facebook and also on our Twitter page. Just search WCBD if you want to become part of this conversation, and let us know what you felt and what you heard out there when this happened right before 1 o'clock this afternoon.